What's up guys? In today's video, I'm going to be talking about my top 3 tips for beginner Airbnb and short-term rental investors. These are the 3 things you absolutely have to do if you want to succeed investing in short-term rentals. And I want to share as well, before we dive right into it, that for any of you guys who are thinking, hey, this guy's crazy to be saying that you should be investing in short-term rentals right now, I want to remind you, as Warren Buffett always says, you want to be fearful when others are greedy and be greedy when others are fearful. Now, that's largely how I've been investing my money over the last number of years, is that over the last 2 years, everyone was greedy. There was so much greed in the market. You saw it, prices were going for 150% over asking. It was just insane, and everyone was talking about Airbnb. And so I was pretty fearful, right? Like I literally analyzed properties, dozens of properties before I would go and offer on a single one of them. On the most recent property I purchased, I submitted 8 offers before I got this one property locked up. And those offers, I got them accepted, I had some negotiations, and ultimately there was just so much mud in the water, so many people that were going and buying emotionally, and I had to walk away from 8 different deals. And that was really tough. Like it requires a lot of discipline, but at the end of the day, I would rather do that than be greedy with all these other people and be in the Airbnb bust category that people are talking about, where they're just losing their shirts right now because they bought bad deals. And so what you want to do is, back then, that's when you want to be fearful. Now is when you want to be greedy. When everyone else is fearful, that's when you want to strike and be buying deals, because everyone else is scared. Everyone's scared of inflation, of high interest rates, of decrease in travel demand, of opening up the borders so people can travel internationally. There's all these reasons that people are fearful, and so that is a great opportunity to buy. If you want to learn how to do it right, we have tons of videos on this channel, and we've got links in the description for trainings that you can check out so that you can do this the right way. But I kid you not, now is probably one of the best times ever to invest in short-term rental properties. So in this video, I want to give you 3 top tips for how to do that successfully. My first tip is to invest for cash flow. You don't want to kid yourself. There are tons of great opportunities to grow your money through equity and appreciation. And yes, you will grow your money through equity and appreciation with Airbnbs and short-term rentals. But more than anything, the big advantage that short-term rentals have going for them is cash flow. They cash flow incredibly well. So you want to be investing for cash flow, and you want to be analyzing for cash flow. If you want, again, more detail on exactly how to analyze properties, we've got other videos that are completely free on this channel here. You can download our analysis spreadsheet completely free in the link in the description down below. And what you want to be looking for at this point is a 15% or greater cash on cash return. Meaning if you put in $100,000 into a deal, let's say, you should be cash flowing after all your expenses, all your operating costs, all your carrying costs, at least $15,000 per year on that property. And that's in a moderate scenario. That's not best case scenario. That's what you're aiming for in a moderate scenario. Ideally, you want 20% or greater. 15% is still pretty solid though. And then what you want to look at as well, tip number 2, is to protect the downside. Make sure that in the worst case scenario, you're going to cash flow at least at break even. Because if you're cash flowing negative, that means that you have to spend money out of your own pocket to carry the cost of owning the property. So things like the mortgage, utilities, insurance, that sort of thing. And so if you're doing that and you're covering it out of your own pocket each month, then that means that in that worst case scenario, you may not be able to afford to keep that property. Let's say that you lose your income, or that it just becomes too much for you to cover this property as well. Well, then what'll happen is that you might be forced to sell the property. That's what happened to a lot of people back in 2008. And if you need to sell the property and the price of the property is less, it's worth less than what you bought it for, that's when you're in a really tight spot where you could really wreck yourself financially. And so what you want to do is make sure you're protecting the downside. Honestly, that's even more important than optimizing the upside, is to mitigate the downside. So what you want to do is make sure you go back and you run a worst case scenario analysis to make sure that even in a worst case scenario, the property doesn't perform well. If it goes back to 2018, 2019 numbers, and it's not crazy like it was in 2020 and 2021, that you're still going to be at least at break even in terms of cash flow. There's a lot of people right now that are losing money every month on their property, and they're justifying it right now, saying, well, it's still a vacation property, it's still a cool property to own, this and that and the other thing, or I'm still building money through equity. But ultimately, none of that stuff matters if you can't afford to keep on taking money out of your own pocket every month to carry the property. It's not going to matter. So you need to make sure that you protect your downside. Analyze the cash flow in a worst case scenario as well. Now, my third and final tip is that you need to buy right. Right now is a really good opportunity where sellers are way more motivated than buyers are. Sellers know that if they don't sell their property to this buyer, well, it might not go for another 30, 60, 90 days. And a lot of them are in that form or boat where they can't afford to keep the property anymore because they bought it wrong. So just realize that as a buyer, you right now have a lot of leverage going in your favor. And so you want to negotiate and make sure that you buy the property right. Make sure you get a really good deal on it, because right now there's lots of opportunities. You don't need to worry about getting the exact property that you want. There's going to be another deal that will come. If this one doesn't work out, there will be another one in short order, because there's lots of inventory right now and lots of sellers that need to sell their properties. So you want to make sure you get a good deal, negotiate, try to bring the price down, try to get more favorable terms, do what you need to do to get a really good deal on the property. Obviously, some areas are still competitive, but for the most part, things are a lot cooler, a lot more cooled off than they were 6 months, 12 months, 24 months ago. So you want to take advantage of that. And you want to buy a good property where you've got some built-in equity into the deal, so you've got additional cushion and additional profit. So those are my top 3 tips for beginner investors. If you want to learn more about specifically how to invest successfully in short-term rentals, we've got links in the description down below for training on that. We've got tons of other videos on this channel here about that. So make sure you hit the subscribe button as well. Hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with the 2 new videos we post every single week on this channel. Hit this like button if you enjoyed the video. Drop me a comment to let me know what you think. And aside from that, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.